Welcome to the first Final Guys.
I thought you were going to say welcome to Monster Men for a second.
You wish.
So did I.
The first Final Guys. Come on, you're stepping on my intro, guys.
That was good.
Well, folks, this is our new podcast. And two Monster Men and the third Monster Man, really. I'm Jack Campisi here with Jason Brant and Hunter Shea. Welcome to the new show, boys.
Let's talk some horror.
That's what we're here for, brother. Bring it on, brother. Bring on the horror.
So what are we going to be doing on this show? We're going to be doing horror movie reviews. We're going to be talking about what's going on in horror. We're going to talk about books, movies, and we're also going to talk about what's going on. And maybe we'll even dance off into some of the other sci-fi and superhero stuff now and then as well, because I like talking about that kind of stuff.
Yes, you do.
All right.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Hey, Hunter and Jason, why don't you quickly tell us about yourselves, because you two clowns are authors.
I write books for a living that nobody gives a shit about.
There we go. I write books for a living that equally nobody gives a shit about, including most of my family that I was down here with a little reunion, finding out nobody reads my stuff. So it's awesome.
Yeah, you're better off that way. I've read your shit, and you don't want them reading it.
Yeah, maybe not.
Some of your sex scenes are interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I don't give a crap about either one of your books, and but I don't write books, but I occasionally write blogs or articles, but I'm more of a guy who hosts podcasts that nobody gives a crap about. So there you go. Three guys
no one gives a shit about.
Yeah,
That's the name of the podcast.
I see a lot of listeners coming our way.
All right, so let's start off with talking. Let's do a quick round of what have we been watching, because I know that between the three of us, we catalog a lot of horror movies. However, I will shoot up the flare right away and say I have not watched a whole lot of horror in the past week or two. So go ahead, boys. What have you been watching?
Go ahead.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was on Instagram one day and somebody had posted this movie poster for a movie called House on Willow Street. And look, we grew up in the 80s and we were used to, the video store horror. And how many horror movies did we pick based on that had a cool box, right?
All of them.
And we knew that almost all of them were crap once you watched them, but it didn't matter because the box was cool and the concept was cool. So I said, all right, well, it was House on Willow Street, and I was like, it was like one of those kind of like Mad Magazine covers where like you had to stare at it for a while, and you find all these little details everywhere. Except I wasn't laughing.
It was the one with the woman and her hair was like all the different characters.
Yeah,
that was very cool.
And then I was really wanted to watch it when I found out that Sharni Vincent is in it. And for those of you who don't know, Sharni Vincent was the final girl in one of my favorite movies of the last maybe 15 years, You're Next.
That's it.
Yeah. She was in my favorite shark movie other than Jaws, Bait.
She looks awesome in them.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I've seen Bait.
Bait is like there's a tsunami hits and then people are trapped in this supermarket with the shark swimming between the aisles.
Oh, there's like a parking garage is flooded, so they're like in cars and stuff.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. So I really like her, and she's Australian, and in this movie she's paired up with a few guys who are going to break into a house and kidnap this guy's teenage daughter. This guy deals in diamonds and stuff, so they're going to kidnap the daughter and then hold her for ransom and make a killing. What they don't know is that the daughter, her name in the movie is Catherine. She's I wrote it down. Carlin Burchell, which I kind of I thought I recognized her. She's from that show, that short-lived show, the Lizzie Borden Chronicles with Christina Ricci. Mm-hmm. And she was also in 12 Monkeys. She was in Netflix's doomed horror show Hemlock Grove.
Ugh.
Yeah. So she's supposed to play like a teenager, but she looks like 30. But what?
So she fit right in on 90210.
Exactly. She'd be Andrea. So they kidnap her, but it goes like kind of really smooth, and they get her there, and she says, for your sake, you might want to let me go. And I saw somebody said it's a mixture of Taken with The Exorcist, which pretty much nails what this movie is, because there's more going on with this girl, Catherine, than meets the eye. She's possessed. And when they go back into the house, they find out all the madness that went on in that house before they made the unfortunate mistake of kidnapping her on this particular night. The cool thing is it has some good jump scares, but it's very atmospheric, and there's great practical effects that, unlike that movie, The Void, that some people love, the practical effects aren't shrouded in darkness. So you can really see what's going on here. Some of the effects and some of the costumes and the makeup reminded me of Hellraiser. So you get this real creepy glimpse of hell. She gets more and more decrepit looking as the movie goes on. She's chained to a chair in this abandoned factory, and that's where they're keeping her. So there's some tension. Sharni Vincent, again, just nails it. She has an American accent this time that she doesn't lose. The guys around her, the other kidnappers, they're kind of vanilla. They don't really do much with them, but it's about these two women. And it's funny because neither is really good as a person. One is, possessed, and the other is a kidnapper. So it's like, which one do you root for? Who do you want to win in the end? But it's a really good movie. I dug it. It's probably not going to be my favorite movie of the year, but it was
I saw that movie too. I don't know. This is my own hang up, is I'm so sick of these possessed movies where someone's possessed. Like after The Conjuring and all those came out, there was just this glut of direct-to-video possession movies. So when that was what her deal was, I was like, oh.
Yeah, but you know what? I like the fact that it wasn't about the possession. It was about people accidentally kidnapping a possessed girl.
Which was a very cool idea.
I kind of like that take on it. And it was from IFC Midnight, which is one of my favorite. I actually like their movies more than Blumhouse. Just so you know, some of the movies that they've done, my boys, The Babadook, Grabbers, which is the greatest
Grabbers is great
monster movie of all time. This year's Devil's Candy, which is awesome. Backcountry, which is the movie with the grizzly bear attack. Baskin, Human Centipede, Would You Rather, Stung. I mean, their list is insane.
Stung.
Yeah, but they're not a production company, are they? I could be wrong. I thought they just released them.
Hey, no matter what they're doing, they're picking well. You know?
When I see their logo flash up, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
It can't be terrible.
There are three logos when I see pop up. If I see Blumhouse, IFC Midnight, or A24, which they don't just do horror, but when they do horror, they do things like The Witch and The Monster and Green Room. So
IFC's hit or miss, and Blumhouse, it definitely worth a look. But again, you got to kind of pick and choose with them. But overall, Blumhouse is like they're the ones keeping this industry afloat.
You know what I like about the two of them? That even if the movie you watch isn't the best, they're like taking chances. Yeah. Most of their movies don't feel generic to me. So I'll always give them a watch, even if I don't like it.
I appreciate the effort that they're keeping horror coming out, and they're getting pretty top level people involved in it. So you're right. Even if I don't quite like the movie, I know the next one will probably be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like.
If you look at IFC Midnight's chronology of movies, there was like a lot of like really low grade horror and kind of sci-fi, a lot of bad alien movies. But as it's gone on, they're just hitting their mark almost every time out. So there's this progression, and same thing with A24. I think Blumhouse is doing so much. There's they're going to get clunkers in there with all the great ones too.
Was this Netflix or Amazon or?
I watched this one on Amazon.
Yeah, that's where I saw it.
So it was definitely worth the price of admission. So
I think I've accidentally dated possessed girls before, but never kidnapped them.
I dated a girl who filed her eye teeth down once.
Okay, I believe that.
I would like to hear that story offline.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a couple of movies here I watched. I'll bang through some of them fairly quickly here. One was on Netflix called Tank 432. It actually starred Rupert Evans, who was in Hellboy. He was the assistant guy in Hell.
Oh,
He was at my best friend's wedding.
Yeah. Nice input there. I've never seen that.
I can't miss Julia Roberts movies.
Tank 432. Yeah.
what's it about?
Really.
It existed.
It's about 432. Did you call it? What is it?
Tank 432. Yeah. Basically, it's supposed to be, I guess, a spec ops team or a mercenary team. They get these women at the beginning, and then they're being chased by some kind of supernatural creatures, and they end up locked in a tank in the middle of a field where they tried to escape and they had to climb in this tank, and then they can't get out. It doesn't really seem to have an ending, at least not an ending that I understood. So when it ended, it was one of those where
Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank.
that would have been a better ending, to be honest. I don't know. I don't claim to be too intelligent, so maybe there was something I missed, but the end was kind of a no-go. But it had some talent behind it. There wasn't really a whole lot there for me to work with.
Did you ever see that movie on Netflix, Spectre? I think it was called.
I did.
It was like a video game where guys were like army guys were fighting against ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was great.
You know what? It was a Netflix movie. Like, had I gone to the theaters to see that, I would have been really pissed off.
Right.
But I saw it for free. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I equate that to like if I had gone to Blockbuster and I got like my main movie and then I got like something silly and fun, that I would have been like, that was dumb, but it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to
that's not Tank 432. Just the other day, my wife and I caught Viral on Netflix.
Oh, I just was looking at the thumbnail for that. Any good?
It wasn't bad. It's
disturbing.
You saw it?
Yeah, I did. I liked Viral.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. It's about I don't even know what to call them. I don't know if they were like aliens, some kind of bug thing gets under people's skin and controls their minds, basically. And a town gets infected with it. They get quarantined. And it's about a couple of high school kids trying to survive it. Fortunately, there's not a whole lot of annoying high school drama in it to really kind of pull you out. It was decent. You could tell it was a small budget film. It didn't look like it, but just seeing that it took place in one or two houses, they were outside for only a couple minutes. Like, you can tell the budget wasn't high, but it didn't look or feel like a cheap movie.
Isn't the guy like who plays the father of the girl in that? I think if I remember from the trailer, it's like the guy from House of Cards who was in like the Dawn of the Dead remake.
I can't
Is that the guy?
name.
You know what I'm talking about? That bald guy?
Michael Kelly. Yep.
Yeah.
Is that the guy I'm talking about?
House of Cards, The Adjustment Bureau, Now You See Me. He's in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
He's in this movie for about 5 minutes.
But they made sure to get him in the trailer.
Yeah, they could afford him for one day, and then he was out.
He's like Bryan Cranston in Godzilla.
Yes, even more so.
That was the biggest bait and switch in movie history.
I've got some more, but did you guys see any more?
Well, speaking of Godzilla, they've just been showing Godzilla movies on, I don't know what channel it is, but it seems like every week I'm running into some Godzilla marathon, and I'll just watch like a little bit. And this week it was Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, which oh my God, this reminded me of like the good old days. Like somehow Godzilla cells went into space, and the woman who gives the explanation of what must have happened out in space, it created like a Godzilla, but it has like a giant crystalline back and comes back down. And then just like, I have not sat through the whole thing, but somebody had mentioned, had I ever seen Space Godzilla? And then I turned on the TV and there it was. So I don't know why that they've been showing a lot of like Godzilla movies lately, and Space Godzilla was worth like, while I'm watching a baseball game, I would flick back over and see what was going on.
Is that a newer movie?
It's been probably made the past 10, 15 years. It's color.
They put a lot out in the last 17 years, believe it or not.
It was Man in Suit though, which I love.
Yeah, that's what I
Oh
want.
yeah, for sure. It's so cheesy and I still love it.
Exactly. Even that King Kong versus Godzilla, where they intentionally made King Kong look like he had Down syndrome and mange.
Oh, let's see here. I watched. Do you have any more, Kevin? Hunter?
You know what? I've been traveling. Who?
What?
Elvis.
I was talking to my dog. Sorry.
Well, since this is our first podcast, we've got kind of a history. Did you guys see the new Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yep.
my God, I loved it.
Yeah,
So
that was a great. I laughed. I laughed at the whole thing.
it's hilarious. And Kurt Russell, especially when they did young Kurt Russell,
How did they do that? He looked perfect.
he said it was mostly makeup and a wig with some CG.
Oh, he was resplendent.
Crazy.
I just watched Escape from New York and Big Trouble in Little China, and I'm like, wow, it's just he looked exactly the same except his face is a little bit fuller.
Right. Call me Snake.
I'm so glad he's acting again because everything he's in is just gold.
You know
It's
what's
amazing.
What's funny is when we went to see it, a guy came and introduced the movie and he said, "So you all enjoyed today's double feature of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and Tango and Cash."
Oh,
And he walks away, and my wife goes, "We didn't buy tickets for a double feature. What's a Tango and Cash?" I'm like, "No." And she kept insisting, like through the whole movie, she's like, "We have to stay for the other movie." I'm like, there is no other movie. That means Sylvester Stallone's in it too.
Oh, yeah, that was interesting seeing Stallone in a Marvel movie. I would not have expected that.
Yeah. Which isn't he playing one of the characters that was in the Defenders or something? And
no, he's one of the original So at the end, that group of Ravagers is actually like one of the original Guardians lineup. And you know the robot head that was like, "Oh no, I missed you guys."
Mhm.
That was Miley Cyrus's voice.
Really? I don't know. all that.
See, I didn't like Guardians as a kid. I hated that comic.
I never read the comics. When the trailer came out for the movie, I was like, "What the hell is this?" And I'm like, I remembered Rocket Raccoon. I'm like, "Oh, I've seen that in like passing, but I've never actually read a book. But I didn't know what the heck Groot was or anything like that."
Right.
Now I'm like, "Oh my God, Drax was like the greatest character." Everything he said was either hilarious or like poignant, and I was crying. Like it was so great.
Yeah, that was a great movie. Not horror, but great.
No, totally off topic. But I liked it. I didn't like it as much as the first one though. I don't know. I felt like it was some of it was just too much. Like in some of the action scenes, there was so much shit going on.
Yeah.
I was like having trouble following it sometimes.
Did you
And
remember?
again, maybe the extra chromosome or something. I'm not sure, but I was having trouble sometimes.
Did you notice that the space scenes, the way the ships were going, that was from Galaga?
Oh, nice.
No,
The way they
I
were
didn't.
sworming going down, that was straight up ripped off from the Galaga.
Nice.
I like the first one better, but I felt like I thoroughly enjoyed it and felt like it was just great to be back with characters I loved. And so there was like maybe that a little pacing towards the middle where you were like, okay, but then my nephew said it best. He goes, basically there's like one scene where Groot keeps going to get stuff and bringing it back, and he's got the wrong thing when they're in the cell. Basically, he said from that moment to the end is like a perfect movie. I was like, yeah, you're kind of right. Like, they kind of Empire Strikes Back you with separating the characters, and you've got like kind of the Han and Leia at Cloud City with Star-Lord and Gamora, except way funnier.
I wish this movie was out when I was a kid. That would be my Star Wars.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Better than that hot garbage train wreck known as the Star Wars franchise.
Oh God, don't. All right. We gotta get back to horror for God's sakes.
Yeah. Forget it.
I watched. Did you guys watch any more?
That's all I got time for. Okay. So
I got two more here. I watched a movie called A Dark Song, which I really liked, and I was instantly pissed off because I have a story idea fairly similar to it.
Oh,
and now I have to alter it. Having seen it, I'm like, shit. But
sucks.
It's about a woman who has lost her child, and she finds a guy who's an expert in the occult and hires him for an exorbitant amount of money over a 6-month to a year-long period to perform a ritual so that she can contact her son. And almost the entire movie takes place in one house they find that's facing the right direction, and it has all these properties that are good for what they're going to do.
Right.
And it's really interesting that they go through this slog of the ritual. Like every day she has to do this and this and this, and she couldn't have sex for X amount of months beforehand, and all these things. And it was done really well. It was another movie that you could tell was a smaller budget, but the acting was top notch. The male character she hires, the guy kills it.
Right.
And the ending is really interesting in this. It's really interesting. I enjoyed the movie quite a bit.
I didn't know that came out already because I've seen the coming attractions a few times and I've been waiting for it to come out. So did you see that on demand or was that Amazon?
It had to have been on Amazon. I don't know where else I would have seen it.
Yeah, I really wanted to see it. It reminded me of, it looked like a better, like an indie, more intelligent version of The Other Side of the Door, which was a similar thing.
Which I also liked. I liked that movie too.
Yeah.
This was a much smaller scope than that.
Right.
I mean, really almost the entire thing takes place in one house.
That's cool. I never even heard of this one, so I'm going to put that one on the list.
That's a dark song. That's something I remember when I listen to other podcasts and they talk about movies, they mention it, and then I forget what the hell the name of it is till they get to the end. So I'm going to try to say it twice. And that was directed by Liam Gavin. I don't think I'd seen anything else by him. No, looked like he only did shorts before. So, and then the other movie I watched, I had some friends who had not seen a little film called Tales from the Crypt Demon Night. So
nice. I love that movie.
That's so good.
Freaking love that movie. I think we should at one point do an episode on it because I just adore that movie.
I haven't seen it in years. I'd love to revisit it.
Oh, it's so much fun. If anybody hasn't seen it, it's just craziness. It's basically a battle between heaven and hell that takes place at a brothel.
Yeah.
With William Sadler and oh God, what's the guy's name? The bald
Billy
guy.
Zane?
Billy Zane.
Billy
yes.
Zane, yeah.
Who is just glorious in this as a demon in the cowboy garb. He just unloads in this movie. It has everything you want, tons of gore, really interesting practical effects, boobs all over the place. 2 thumbs up. I love it.
So that movie, I saw that in the theater. God knows, but that must have come out like
It was like 94.
Yeah, something like that. I saw that in the theater, and I went in with the lowest expectations of my life. And halfway through it, I'm like, "Holy crap! Is there something wrong with me? This movie's great. Like I thought, a Tales from the Crypt movie was gonna suck. This movie's it's funny. It was
it had everything, and it doesn't get the love it deserves.
No one has seen that movie. It's crazy. I absolutely adore it. It starts from the moment it's at the beginning, so it's not really a spoiler. When Billy Zane punches through a sheriff's head, like straight through his head, from that point on, the movie is just absolutely bananas.
Yeah. No, that's a good one, man. We should do a whole episode on that.
It's great. It's just it's a real lost gem that I don't think that many people have seen. So,
done and done.
And I think that was about all I got to this week. It was a slow week.
I almost did buy a box set of all the House movies.
Oh wow,
man!
But it was $180. Now,
what?
Yeah, that they're rare. Like you can't find them. They don't really exist.
Is it Blu-ray?
No, they were on DVD.
$180 for DVDs, man.
Of House. Come on.
House.
Yeah. So I was like, no, that's all right. Even though it was for charity, I'm like, I'm not that sure.
So I think that's all our movies, right?
Hunter.
Yes.
Got any books for us?
Books? You want books? I got books.
Just give us one because I want to get to the news.
Yeah, no. I'll give you one book. This is a book that it's a re-release. It's called The Haunted Forest Tour, which for me had me giddy as a schoolgirl. It starts out with this little town in the West where just giant trees just sprout up out of nowhere, just demolish the town, split people in half as they're sprouting up. And then it just cuts away to a few years later. And what this company has done is just put this kind of like monorail track in there, and they have this tour bus goes through, and in this giant primeval forest that popped out of nowhere in the desert, it's filled with all kinds of ghosts and monsters and creatures and stuff. So the tour bus goes in there, and of course it breaks down, and they are immediately descended upon by monsters, more monsters than I have ever imagined could be crammed into one book. It was phenomenal. Really strong characters. It's written by Jeff Strand and James A. Moore.
Jeff Strand's great.
Jeff Strand is one of the best, I'm even going to say just flat out fiction writers out there today.
He has a great sense of humor.
All his books have this wry wit to them, and his dialogue, like you can tell, I could tell exactly when he was doing certain parts of the dialogue. And you really get to know the characters. Kind of like The Thing, you know, when you, and The First Alien, those are two movies where you had this set group of characters and they were beset by a monster, and you knew each of those characters so well. And that's what they did such a great job here.
What's the name of the book?
The Haunted Forest Tour. It is phenomenal. I mean, that's going to be one of my favorite reads of this year, hands down.
Is that a new book? I hadn't heard of that.
It came out in 2007, but they just re-released it in March this year. And it's getting great reviews, and you guys will love it. Trust me, you'll love it. So
awesome.
If you dig monsters and just gore and demons and ghosts in the woods, can't beat it.
Those things are okay, but if you put them in the woods, now we're talking.
Yeah, exactly.
I did actually only read a thriller this week, but last week or the week before, I finished this book called We Are Always Watching by Hunter Shea. And it was a real piece of shit. I don't recommend anybody.
Thank you.
I actually reviewed it online because I loved it. I actually did. I think I said in the review that I felt like it was your most easily accessible book for people who aren't freaks like us.
Yeah, exactly. For mainstreamers.
It was outstanding. Everybody should go check it out. Not just shilling. I actually really dug the shit out of that book.
Yeah, I'm shocked that you brought that book up.
Me too. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Yeah, can we edit that out?
That's all I got.
Thank you, sir.
Our first sponsor. Pay up, pal.
Yeah, really.
You got it. I'll pay you in Atkins bars.
All right, we need to get to our main feature, but before that, I want to run through. There's a lot of interesting news, so I want to touch on this. First of all, Roger Moore, the probably second most significant James Bond, passed away at 89.
Wait, he did?
Roger Moore passed away. I found out this morning. The Spy Who Loved Me.
Damn.
Live and Let Die.
He really hung in there.
Yeah. So it's the first James Bond to pass away. So, and I get, everybody.
George Lazenby's career.
Right. Everybody talks about, obviously Sean Connery is the definitive James Bond or whatever, but, as people will say who their Batman is, Roger Moore was my James Bond. It was, I was growing up when Spy Who Loved Me and Live and Let Die and Moonraker and all that. So
Moonraker I loved.
A lot of his old, he probably overstayed. Some of his later ones are kind of painful, but, he was the most suave of the James Bonds.
I thought so. But again, that was because he was our giant. Every generation has their James Bond.
Yeah. All right, so quickly, there's some big news to talk about. First of all, you mentioned, or I don't know if we mentioned it, Hellboy is being rebooted.
What? I didn't hear this.
Hellboy is being rebooted, so no Ron Perlman, no Guillermo del Toro. Let's see, Neil Marshall, who did The Descent, is going to direct it, which is I'm pretty pissed that we're not getting a third Hellboy, but
you pulled me back a little bit there. Okay.
Also, David Harbour, who was the sheriff in Stranger Things, is Hellboy.
He's Hellboy?
He's Hellboy.
That's an interesting casting decision.
So
he looks like such hell on Stranger Things. You can't imagine him as like a superhero.
Interesting, though. He was good in that.
Yeah, he is. I got mixed emotions. I was really always looking for. I love Hellboy 2, actually.
Yeah, it's great.
Both movies are great.
And Ron Perlman just crushes it.
Ron Perlman's getting up there, though, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, it was always in production hell, so it probably was never going to happen. So I guess if they're never going to make it, but so I'm sad that they're not going to finish the trilogy, but we'll see what they can do with this. It sounds like they've out of all the reboots that are coming up, and a lot of this news that I have has to do with reboots, this sounds like the most promising one.
Yeah, I agree. There's some talent in there.
I'll take that.
Now, let's go to the big reboot news. Universal Studios has dubbed their Universal Monster reboot as The Dark Universe. there's a new trailer. As you know, The Mummy is coming out soon, but there was recently a picture posted online with Tom Cruise, the woman who plays the Mummy, who was in The Kingsman, and Russell Crowe, who's Dr. Jekyll, but also Javier Bardem and Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp's going to be the Invisible Man, and Javier Bardem is going to be Frankenstein's monster.
Oh shit! I didn't hear all that.
That was one of them.
If Johnny Depp is invisible, then he can't ham fist the
Yeah.
role.
Hater.
I was on the Johnny Depp bandwagon a long time ago, but he became Captain Jack Sparrow somewhere along the line. He seems to be like that all the time.
I'm guessing around the $20 or $30 million paychecks, he figured I can adopt this.
Also, Bride of Frankenstein is set for 2019. I had heard a long time ago that Angelina Jolie was tagged with that, but there's nothing about that in anything I read recently. But Javier Bardem as Frankenstein's monster intrigues me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the Mummy trailer looks like crap to me.
Ooh, that looks so bad.
See, I am excited for it because I have finally just let go of my Tom Cruise as a weirdo thing. He makes freaking awesome movies. He really does. The last one he made that had a terrible trailer was Edge of Tomorrow, and I so didn't want to see it, and I loved it.
Really?
So, oh man, have you seen that movie?
No.
I have it on DVR, and I've never pulled the trigger on it, so I'll have to go back.
One of my favorite sci-fi films of the last decade. That's how good it is. I mean, it's.
Are you kidding me?
No, it's the shit. And so I'm just finally like, fine, he's making a mummy movie. I'm all in. I think I like the idea of the female mummy. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be a good movie, but
they actually made a female mummy because X-Men Apocalypse like beat them to the punch, and they were like, okay, our movie's starting to look way too much like X-Men Apocalypse, so they flipped it to a female mummy, and it's probably the best decision they made. This is the woman who was the bad guy in Kingsman.
She was great.
And she's great, yeah. So we have the universe, and it looks like they're going to make it a more actiony universe than horror.
God. It has no relation to the old stuff whatsoever, other than the name.
And if you look at the latest Mummy trailer, you can see Russell Crowe starting to transform to Mr. Hyde. So I don't know what they're going to do with that, but
Dr. Jekyll ate Mr. Hyde.
I mean, I get it. They're putting all these big names in it. They're going to have to make some serious box office money to be able to recoup this. So to just go straight horror would be.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, that's my problem. These movies are probably being a market. There's probably market research focus groups going on left and right trying to figure out the best way to do it. But we'll see. Hey, maybe they'll get one right. If they get one right, I'll be happy.
I'll check it out. If it sucks, we'll shit on it.
Don't do Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Eventually, they're going to have to revisit. And originally, the talk was that Tom Cruise was going to be Van Helsing, and then I guess they flipped him. He's somebody. He's not Van Helsing in this, but I guess eventually there'll be a Van Helsing, and eventually there'll be a Dracula. But Dracula Untold was supposed to be the launch of all this, and then it was a pile of garbage.
Yeah, they were like, no.
So.
I couldn't even bring myself to watch it. I've never seen it.
I saw it on HBO one night, and I was like, I'm a big Dracula fan, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to jump through the TV and pound these people in the face.
I'm a big Frankenstein fan, and I refuse to watch I, Frankenstein.
Oh.
I was like, nah.
I just have the image of you diving through your TV and
come here!
Beating the shit out of people on a set.
Not good movie. The other movie I can't bring myself to watch is Victor Frankenstein with what's his name, James McAvoy and Harry Potter. I have that DVR too, and I'm almost like, no, it's bad.
Why? That was kind of the question I got to the end. Why was this made?
I'll go watch a Peter Cushing Dr. Frankenstein movie instead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We got to get to the main thing, but did you guys watch the Exorcist TV show? Because a season 2 has been announced.
I watched 7 episodes and bailed.
Really? I heard it was so good.
It is good, but then it's boring. I don't know. I got bored.
Wow. No, I didn't get to see it yet, but I had a bunch of people tell me it was good.
It's on Hulu, which I don't have, but so you can watch it. I was never interested in it for a second, but maybe someday.
It's weird. It's different. It's not like The Exorcist like you think of, and there's a great reveal in I think episode 5 or 6 or whatever. But after a while, I'm like, how much more can they do with this? Where it's not reaching absurd levels. That was my thing.
Yeah. All right, and one last thing. I've got a couple of things I'm going to save them for next week, but they're also rebooting the Resident Evil franchise, which just ended a couple of months ago with
It's been like 2
the
months.
last step. Yeah. So you thought that it was bad with like Hellboy or whatever. Now that's just like, it's like, okay, we just had the season finale of Breaking Bad, and we're going to reboot Breaking Bad with.
Well, you know what? But here's the thing: they've set the bar so low, it can only be good.
It cannot get worse.
if it's coherent, right?
We are
there.
actually probably going to do some of the Resident Evil movies for So Bad It's Good, because they are just amazing to watch.
They make no sense whatsoever. None. No. I don't think anyone reads the previous script and just whatever. We'll just throw this.
Doesn't matter. There's one of them at the beginning. The whole movie play like for 10 minutes or something. It plays in reverse. Do you see that one?
Yes.
Nope.
It's like it's on a big ship and it's playing in reverse. I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah, but you know what? People love those. Like, I don't know whether they love it or they're like, I've gone in. It's like me with Underworld. I don't like these movies, but I keep watching them because I'm like, I'm in. I can't get out until this is over.
Underworld is Shakespeare compared to Resident Evil, though.
And it has Kate Beckinsale. So
Exactly.
It's all good.
Okay, we got to get to this because we ran long a little bit here, but the main feature tonight is Alien Covenant. So let's get to our review of Alien Covenant. Did everybody do their homework and go see Alien Covenant in the theater?
Yes,
I did, and I even watched Prometheus a couple weeks ago in anticipation of this.
Look at that.
That's right.
Ugh.
I love Prometheus.
I did too.
I hate anybody who even likes Prometheus. So
Well, then
you.
you can get right off this.
I can't even have you on this show reviewing movies if you like Prometheus. And
Here's
we're
the
always
thing.
if the book is We Are Always Watching, I hope it's not Prometheus.
Prometheus, when I first saw it in the theater, I left thinking I liked this movie. I didn't love it. When I rewatched it, I liked it way, way more. I think I kind of let go of it being an Alien prequel so much as just being its own thing.
Right.
And I appreciated the scope of it and what they were doing with these, what are they called, engineers or whatever?
Yeah.
All the pretentious bullshit. Yeah, I like that.
You're a hater. It was good.
I like to call it good cast making dumb decisions because that's all that movie is.
That still drives me nuts.
We like horror. That's every movie we watch.
That's true.
Come on, Jesus Christ!
Let's start.
That's like complaining about Three's Company. Oh, there was a misunderstanding on this episode. I don't like it.
Like Three's Company, at least we had Charlize Theron in Prometheus. And then she runs when the donut shaped spaceship is going to fall on her, and she just runs straight instead of the side.
I hate that every time.
And when the guy is like, "Hi, cutie," to
when he
Cobra, like, come on.
Those are the two parts that I'm like, why? You were Ridley Scott. Why are you making them do this?
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought.
Let's hear what you think about Covenant, my friend.
Okay, so I saw Covenant, and I thought it was better than Prometheus because at least it had some horror movie stuff going on in it. But I felt this was way more of a watch on Netflix or pay-per-view than see in the theater kind of movie.
Wow.
Because I thought it was like, it looked pretty good. I thought it was kind of entertaining, but once again, supposedly smart people making dumb decisions, and then kind of the movie like tries to be Prometheus for part of the movie, then tries to be Alien for part of the movie, and never quite balances it. So I thought it was okay, but I didn't love it.
All right.
I think that here's the problem with any Alien movie. Everyone's gonna compare it to Alien or Aliens, and you can't. It's its own thing, and I think what Ridley Scott tried to do, he tried to put a little of Aliens, and Prometheus in here. So there's a melange of Alien type movies in here. I think it was the goriest of all. I mean, my God, it was unsparingly gory. I liked it. I liked the look of it. I like the cast. They did dumb things, but you know what? Sometimes smart people do dumb things in extreme situations.
I like the cast a lot.
I think the cast was spot on. I liked all the different types of aliens. I like the introduction of how the aliens kind of incubate in people and how they come to be.
I thought it was inconsistent.
It's weird. It's really weird. But this is whole Ridley Scott thing that's going on about evolution versus God and creation.
Let's split this up into a non-spoiler and spoiler, because I want to get to the whole. Let's go like 5 more minutes on non-spoiler, then let's get into spoilers, because there's a specific thing about the baby aliens that was ridiculous.
But I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it, and I think I would probably be upset if I didn't know that there were 2 more movies coming, because it created more questions that were left unanswered.
I think
Sorry,
that Hunter just likes alien movies and would like if they just showed the freaking Xenomorph action figure for 2 hours with a camera on it.
Dude, I didn't like 3 and I didn't like 4, so I'm liking where they're going now.
I liked it. I didn't love it. I actually liked Prometheus significantly more than this.
Wow.
So I'm hoping that just like with Prometheus, when I watch this a second time, I'll appreciate it more. But I was looking for a sequel to Prometheus, to the ideas they presented, to the questions they asked. Like at the very end of Prometheus, Elizabeth Shaw is going to find out why humanity's creators decided they made a mistake and were going to correct that mistake and try to kill the humans. We never find out. That's never answered. That was that was the end of the last movie, and it's never brought up, and it drove me crazy.
Yeah, no, what they did was created more questions.
I really, and there's a whole spoiler thing I have to get into with that also bugged me. But for the first half of this movie, 2/3 of this movie, I was still in. It was really the last 20 minutes or so, last half hour that I just kind of lost me. I agree with you when you said it's like, it was trying to be part Prometheus, part Alien. Like, I almost wonder if Ridley Scott listened to all the criticism of Prometheus and just dumped a ton of the stuff they were doing and tried to make this more of an alien film.
It felt like he went to a focus group where people like us were saying, like, well, I want to like Prometheus better if there was more dogs in it.
Dog's an asshole.
You're
going to hear my wife come up soon, so it's going to get interesting. Yeah, it just... when you hear me talk about this, you're going to think I absolutely hate it, and I did not. I liked it. I truly did. It's just I wanted a sequel to Prometheus, and I feel like I got more of a prequel to Alien, if that makes sense. I just all the thematic stuff they did in Prometheus, they didn't do nearly as much of in this.
But I think because he thinks he has the cushion of 3 movies, and I think that's why this ended up.
Absolutely be right.
It's funny. So we're kind of the opposite. I wanted more of a prequel to Aliens than I did a sequel to Prometheus, and I think I'm like you too. I'm like I liked it. Like, it was okay, but I didn't love it, and so I may come off as more negative, but at the same time, while I was watching it, I said this would be better if I had just rented it than see it in the theater.
Right.
That was exactly where I was. Yeah, I was like, yeah,
you know what,
yeah.
What happened? And it's tough. You have all these characters, and you don't connect with many. I mean, you connect with Katherine Waterston's character, and oh my God, Eastbound and Down. What's his name?
Oh, Danny McBride.
Who was shockingly good in this, right?
Yeah.
Tennessee. He was really good.
I think he was the best character.
He's working on a Halloween like reboot or something.
I've heard that.
Oh,
and
geez.
so
I don't know. I thought he was outstanding in this. I was really surprised.
Yeah.
I thought he was the best character.
He was, man. So, like I said, everyone in it was strong. You had some really great actors in it.
You didn't get enough time to get to know the characters, and I guess there's a whole dinner scene with James Franco,
right
at the beginning that got cut. You can see part of it in the trailer. So I think that maybe director's cut will have a little more character development, because when they were like, "Oh, I'm your wife and I'm your husband," once they like split up and they're like, "Where's my wife?" or "Where's my husband?" You're like, "Who's with who?" I don't remember.
Yeah.
I felt the exact same thing. Alien is amazing because exactly like you were saying, Hunter, the characters are so well defined, they're interesting, and when they start dying, you're invested. In this, I'm like, who the hell are these people? I couldn't remember.
No, I remember when I walked out of Alien, I knew every character's name, and I knew exactly what their personalities were.
There's a couple of characters that die at the end of this movie that you don't even realize are still alive. And you're like, wait,
mean
them?
Like the ridiculous shower scene thrown in for no reason? You're like, who are these people?
Yes,
exactly. I know. That was awesome.
Why is this in the movie? This has nothing to do with anything.
Well, I think Ridley Scott has watched Monster Men, and he says, you know what? They always say you need boobs in these.
You need boobs.
So we're going to give them boobs.
I also thought they touched on the faith thing that was really heavy in Prometheus, that was done well with the Elizabeth Shaw character. And in this one, they were just like, the captain's the faith guy. And that was about the extent of it.
Because was he a pastor or something? I didn't understand.
No, they just said he felt like people thought he was crazy because he has faith, and then it's never mentioned again.
I got the feeling that he was a pastor, and I don't know whether the movie is telling us that faith is misguided and don't follow a person of faith. I didn't understand. I
thought the way Prometheus went into it was much more interesting. Of the gods versus aliens versus who are our creators, what religion. A lot of blurred lines. It was interesting. And this was just like, that religious idiot that's going to get us all killed. But he didn't do anything religious that was going to get them all killed. So
other than having faith that they were in the right place. That was
I guess that was about the extent of it.
He went with his gut, and his gut was controlled by his faith that signal that they were getting was divine providence, that it was a planet that was breathable, and that's where they should where they should colonize.
One of you mentioned too.
Let's call this spoilers, because you're starting to bring up stuff that we need to talk about spoilers, because that whole thing with why they went to the planet. So anybody listening right now, if you haven't seen the movie, the next couple of minutes, we're going to talk about this spoilerific-y. So cut out if you don't want to hear spoilers, and thanks for listening. And if not, come back and listen after you see the movie. With that, spoilers ahead. Go ahead.
All right. Hit us.
Well, my last thing actually wasn't too spoilery, if at all. Just one of you mentioned about them all being married, and to me, that made them way more alike and bland. So I get you're on a colony ship, you need people to be married to have kids, but the fact that everyone had a spouse, but they weren't distinct enough that when somebody was getting killed, I'm like, whose wife is that? Whose husband is that?
Right.
I don't understand.
How are they all part of the crew?
Yeah, I don't know.
Everyone in the crew was married to each other.
Everyone was way too similar in this for my taste. But anyway.
So the de facto captain, what's his name? Billy Crudup or something like that?
Crudup, yeah. He
was Dr. Manhattan and the Watchmen. So they paint
your wife's home. This movie is for the dogs. Just so you all know. It's for the dog. No.
God damn it.
Who let the dogs out?
We got started late, so my timing's messed up.
Yeah.
So they paint this de facto captain as the faith guy, but then he has doubt about whether the crew is going to listen to him or not. And really, it just turns out like instead of like him being like some kind of crazy faith person, like the chick in the store in the Mist or something like that, he's just like an inept leader. Like he does dumb things, he makes dumb decisions, which happens, but they never really went back to his faith ever really coloring any of his decisions. And then, this is where I was talking about dumb decisions. He knows that the Michael Fassbender robot is bad, follows him into a cave, and I know he's never seen an alien movie, so he doesn't know what a face hugger is like I do, but still, when the guy's like, hey, why don't you look in here?
Oh my God.
A little closer. You know, like, what a freaking idiot. Like,
I hated that part. I hated the next couple of minutes after that too, because he gets impregnated by the alien face hugger, and 30 seconds later, it's bursting out of his chest.
Right. What's the gestation period for these things?
Like, I've seen the other movies. This is not how it works.
Well, so is that because of evolution? Because this is prior, so does it take longer as they evolve? Like this, they step on these things that look like mushrooms or something, and then these spores come up. You breathe them in, you get them in your ear, and within an hour, you're sprouting a fully formed alien, just like miniature size, like mini Groot.
Right. But at the end of this, I mean, we were dealing with the alien from the previous movies, right? I mean, it was the same thing at this point.
Yeah,
right?
there's I
By
like
the
that.
end.
Yeah, there's all these different versions of Xenomorph.
But
which I thought was interesting enough.
The number one stupid thing, and I think it was the movie Galaxina that did this. The freaking alien that pops out and is like a little mini me action figure size one, and like I Am Groot holds its hands up to the thing, and I'm like, wait a minute, they don't look like that when they come out. They look like, well,
that's
wieners.
The thing. We're stuck on the original, but Ridley's taking it another step.
But even other people with chest bursters, like they looked different. So
I didn't understand the part where he's doing the kind of, I don't want to say sign language, but where it's imitating him.
Yeah.
Like, so are they remembering through genetic code that he made? Like, I didn't get that.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess they didn't kill him because he's not organic. So that's why he could communicate with them.
But when I was going back to Galaxina, I expected him like to pop up and be like, "Hello, my honey. Hello, my baby."
Was that Spaceballs?
Was it maybe Spaceballs? Yeah, okay, Spaceballs.
I'm telling you though, the scene that I loved in that movie was when they're in the high reeds at night.
Yeah,
little aliens.
I want more of that.
Woo!
Yeah, I thought, oh, this is taking an Aliens twist that I'm digging right now. No, that was it.
I liked. So I thought there was too much CG. So that little alien that came out, it was clearly like CG. I loved when they would use CG for those monsters running through the reeds and stuff like that. So when you were having like a galloping one or a far shot or something, I thought that they could have picked and choose the CG a little bit, and they should have gone practical a little bit more.
That was something I wanted to bring up. I felt like some of the CG effects in this were super on point and looked fantastic. And then there were a couple shots where it looked really bad. And I was, when James Franco dies in the fire, the fire inside that was just horrible looking.
Yeah, what kind of fire was that? Was that some sort
of? That was like Agents of
S.H.I.E.L.D.
It was like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ghost Rider level.
Yeah, it was really bad. And I'm like, but then the next couple shots looked fantastic. So I didn't know if it was a budgetary thing or why not cut that out? I don't know. That was weird.
Either that, it was some sort of special chemical fire, like a controlled chemical burn.
Chemical fire that looks fake as hell.
Yeah. Who knows? That was so weird.
My other grievance, I have two more grievances. I said everybody's going to think I hate this movie.
What is this, Festivus? Your airing of the grievances?
Get the poll.
Elizabeth Shaw, by the end of Prometheus, was the most interesting character because her will to live at the end of that movie was insane. When she has that thing cut out of her in the machine, I mean, it was just, and she's running away and she's got her stomach stapled. I mean, that was great. And she takes the android severed head and is like, we're going to find these assholes and find out what's going on. I loved it.
Right.
Not even in the goddamn sequel.
No.
What? Oh,
I know.
Drove me nuts.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that because he knows he has 2 more movies that he's going to work on, that he's just going to string it along. I just hope he lives long enough to finish this.
Hunter, I know your favorite part was when Michael Fassbender kissed himself.
Oh my God, was that?
That made me think of Shatner in Star Trek 6. I can't believe I kissed you. It must have been your lifelong ambition. God, they should have said that.
That was Michael Fassbender. I thought was phenomenal. Playing,
he was great.
Rose.
He's great in everything.
Great. The one thing that I picked up on, I'm going, hey, it looks like that our attempts to ban smoking didn't work in the future because everyone's lighting up every chance they get.
Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's not bad for you anymore.
I found that interesting too.
A lot of smoking.
Well, why does a frickin' team of scientists go down to a planet and not wear spacesuits? Because we all know that even if the atmosphere is breathable, there are viruses and spores and things like that. So again, that was one of those things that I'm like, all right, I'll just let it go.
And things you can do. It's just basic archaeology because Prometheus was an archaeologist's wet dream movie. Basic archaeology. You put something on because you're contaminating the area as much as it can contaminate you, especially in the beginning, till you figure everything out. I thought that was kind of weird too.
Yeah, there was really cool tech in Prometheus too that they didn't translate over to this so much. The sphere that went down into the cave tunnel system and mapped it out for them, and they did some really interesting stuff like that. But I feel like Prometheus had a much bigger budget than this, so that could be why they.
You had a lot of A-listers in Prometheus. You had Idris Elba and
The
Charlize
effects in that
Theron.
were amazing.
So the other thing, the Fassbender thing, I knew as soon as he comes out that it's the bad David. It's not.
Oh, we all knew that.
Walter.
Yeah,
100% agree. They
So-
did not hide that well.
My question is, did he switch consciousness with the robots because they're robots, or did he actually have time to cut his arm, cut his hair, and switch uniforms in what was like 2 minutes?
I think he cut his hand off,
But then he would have had to also trim his hair.
But what happened to the good one? Because he's probably still there.
I think
My question was the hair color. His hair color changed.
Well, it was blonde, long blonde, and then he cut it, and it was brown. So
it was brown, but it was still like a little bushier.
But he was dyeing his tips, I guess, all that time out there.
Okay. So while everyone was fighting, he was cutting his hand off and dyeing his hair. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I want to put highlights in my hair.
But then when they go back to the ship, that whole thing felt a little forced.
That was my last grievance.
Yeah, it was just
the alien on the ship was not well done. That whole sequence.
Nah, well, it just looked like stuff we'd seen before.
Yeah, exactly. It felt to me like he was saying, "Okay, people wanted more alien. Here's an alien on a ship. They're gonna hunt it down. Here's your alien movie."
And it happened so fast that there wasn't enough time for it to really build up enough tension.
What'd you think of the ending? What'd you think with that ending?
Where an alien gets blown out into space?
No, where the bad guy wins.
That's Empire Strikes Back of Alien.
I like that. I was fine with that. I didn't give a shit about anybody in the movie except Tennessee. So
I had to assure the people next to me that there was another movie coming because they were railing.
Oh, really?
Oh my God! It was a mother came wearing a dress with two little girls wearing dresses. This was their matinee special, and she was pissed. I was like, "No, there's another one. Don't worry. All questions will be answered." I think.
Okay, I'm out of grievances. I actually did still like it, people.
Yeah, I liked it too. It was fun.
It wasn't what I wanted it to be, which is, I guess, probably more on me than more on Ridley Scott. So
right. Well, that's the problem. These movies all are they're just burdened with the weight of just two incredible movies, and it's almost impossible to duplicate that.
Yeah, I think the first two are ones that I'll revisit a million times, and then this one is one that if it's on HBO or FX one day, I'll watch part of it or whatever. But when the next one comes out, I'll go see it again. Okay. I'm not like a diehard with these movies anymore. Having said that, this is my third favorite Alien movie.
See, that's good. I will go out on a limb and say that when he finishes that, this is a trilogy. If you consider this the starting point, I guarantee the last one is going to blow our minds.
I hope.
I'm putting that out there right now, because it's also Ridley Scott's going to be probably in his 80s, and he's looking at things in a very different way that I think it's going to be profound.
Let's hope.
Write it down.
All right.
So my rating is, I wouldn't see it in the theater. I wouldn't recommend people see it in the theater, but a rental. It's worth a rental.
I concur.
I say see it in the theater because most stuff in theater is crap, and this is better than the usual crap. So,
all righty then. So nobody's saying not to see it.
No, absolutely.
Our lukewarm reception.
No, I see. I'm telling you, if you like Alien, you're going to like this. And if you just want, and if you don't even like Alien, but you want to be scared by monsters a little bit, this will give you your fix.
I actually thought that this is better for younger people that haven't been exposed to all the movies yet. This is probably a good entry point because a lot of the stuff we've seen face huggers and Aliens and all that a million times. So if you start here and then, go back and watch the rest of them, your perspective may be different than jaded guys like us who are like,
right,
been there, done that.
That's an interesting point. I mean, these movies are made for teenagers who are going to the movies, not for jaded assholes.
Yeah. Especially Jack and I, we're past the point. They don't even care what we like or what we buy. We're just so out of the demo.
That's it. If you're a high school kid, you probably love it because like you said, it's gory. It's got, it's got some jump scares and things like that. So
Yeah, Jack, all that matters is that we can get an AARP discount when we go to the movies to see it.
I was thinking more about how bad all the popcorn I was eating was for my cholesterol than I was.
Double up on the Lipitor tonight.
I accidentally got a bigger popcorn than I wanted, and I was like, well, I'll just eat part of it. And then by the end, I'm like, oh, I ate the whole thing.
So then you didn't go get your early bird special dinner?
Right. I just went right to the home and went to bed.
Depending on how Jack and I eat for the next week, this could be the final, guys.
Oh, this is going to be a fun running gag.
All right, boys. That's probably enough for today.
Is that a wrap and roll?
That's a wrap.
Check the gate.
So, got any stuff you want to plug?
Follow me on Twitter at Jason_Brant. I'm on Facebook. I think it's JMBrant17. I think it's the same on Instagram.
I would like to plug Salma Hayek, but if I can't, you can follow me at huntershea.com.
Excellent. And
if you go there, everything's there.
You can find Hunter and I on our Monster Men video podcast, Monster Men 13 on YouTube, and I'm Back in Jack on Twitter. And gentlemen, not bad for a first show. Someday we'll look back at this one and laugh.
That someday will be tomorrow when I'm ripping the MP3.
Tomorrow when we listen to
We're
it.
laughing right now.
Yeah.
It took me forever to find the mute button when my dog started barking.
All right, guys. That was good. That's one in the can, as they say in the porn business.
Excellent. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Peace in the Middle East.